After some time, everyone enters the secret world with the help of the portal. On reaching there, they see a small village at some distance. Seeing that village, he says that the village looks very nice, but not a single monster is visible here. Where are all these monsters? And then this other boy says that it is possible that all these monsters are inside the houses. Saying this, he says that let's see where that monster is. The name of this village is written on this stone guaming, and then this man raises his hand and says that there is something strange about this stone plaque. Everyone be careful, anything can happen. The girl looks at him carefully and says, I am feeling a rebellious, mysterious energy in this village. As soon as she says this, she immediately raises her hand. A light starts glowing around her hands. And she says, first of all, I need to prepare a cleaning buff for all of you. Our hero looks at her and realizes what an amazing buff. This has not only cleared my mind, but also increased my agility attribute and energy. Then suddenly something strange is felt in the air. Everyone tries to go inside the village. Then suddenly the word written on the stone starts glowing. Something strange spreads in the air. And this boy immediately looks at his companions and says, run away from here. Something is going wrong here. Here his condition starts getting worse, and he immediately tells everyone to go back from here. There is something different here that is not understood. The system detects that the realm Beautiful Village has mutated from level 30, and its name has been changed to Dead Spirit Village. Dead Spirit Village Nightmare, its clearance conditions are to clear the dead spirits in the village and kill the boss in Gungimi. A strong red aura appears around the village. The explanation states that the light is destroyed and darkness blooms. The dead are eliminated by the Empire. Our hero says to hell with the village of dead souls. But the secret area changed directly from normal level to nightmare, and everyone else also got shifted around by the mutation. Our hero thinks to himself that it might be too risky to fight a level 30 nightmare in a level 30 secret area alone at my current level. And then he remembers about that person who said that, remember, if you are left alone by mistake and face danger, then you should immediately return to the teleportation stone. And then he thinks in his mind that I should have listened to both the brothers. And first of all, I should go back to the teleportation stone. Then suddenly the ground slips from under his feet and he falls down. As soon as he comes down, there are big coffins around him and a picture of an old man is hung on the wall. Looking at it, he feels that maybe these are all coffins, but there is no way out of it. And then he looks at that picture carefully and feels that am I imagining things or is that picture smiling at me? Our hero was not able to understand anything. Then suddenly a skeleton's hand starts coming out of this coffin. In a few moments, many bone skeletons come out. The system detects that all these are dead souls and their level is 30 skill collision/corruption specialty trained with normal physical attack. And then all these dead souls move towards our hero with the intention of attacking him. Our hero understands about them. And then he says, damn it, trained for physical attack, and then immediately senses the danger, and he immediately uses poisonous mist. And then dodges them and gets out of there. He goes and stands on the wall above them. Looking at them, he thinks to himself that I knew that poison is also considered a physical attack and nothing more than that. At that moment, the little master appears and says, I am hungry. And looking at the master and the dead souls, he becomes happy and says, I want to eat all of these. Our hero looks at him and says, Little Nine, do you want to eat all of this? But isn't eating also considered a physical attack? The little master looks at them and says, these might be delicious and we can eat these. Our hero says, okay, go ahead and try it. But if you can't do it, then don't force me to do it. If you get into trouble, then I will definitely help you. The little master replies that I am strong and I will definitely take it. And then she quickly moves towards all those souls and says, all this is my food. And then she immediately runs towards all those souls, grows very fast. After this, she starts tearing apart all the demons and killing them and becomes very happy that there are so many demons here. Our hero looks at him in surprise and thinks to himself, I forgot that little master comes from Saradal. and is kind of undead and belongs to the dark species. After getting the evolution skill, Little Nine can evolve into the Lord of Saradal. He is absolutely far superior to these low-level undead creatures. And then he realizes at the same time that all those monsters can be eaten by the little master. And then he extends both his hands and orders everyone to come out and eat a lot of food. In a few seconds, all the children of Little Master appear, and then he says that remember the dead man does not look like other humans. These are all dead people, and then all the worms attack all of them and eat them in a few seconds. The system detects that your worm has eaten the low-level dead soul and killed 30. At the same time, our hero raises his hand, and he realizes that this has happened very quickly. In just 10 seconds, I have gained more than 5 lakh experience, and raised the level. He realizes that this secret area is like a treasure prepared just for me. And then he says that now we can go and check that horrible picture. What is that old man's picture? What kind of a secret is that? And then he goes in front of that old man's picture at the same time and says, "Hey, brother, why are you not smiling now?" C.H. Hoda Little Master looks at him carefully and says, "Master, I have eaten everything outside." Our hero points towards the picture and says, "Shabash, C.H. Hoda Little Master. But can you see whether it can be eaten or not?" There is a lot of fear on the face of that old man's picture. And then suddenly the picture breaks. The system informs that you have killed your necromancer god level 35, and you have gained 8,701 experience. Both of them are surprised to see that picture. On the other side, all the dead souls attack this person, and this person is fighting all of them, and then he thinks in his mind that luckily I have a magic weapon which was a longbow. Otherwise I would not be able to deal with these dead creatures. And then he thinks about the rest of the people, that how would they be facing it? Especially Jia Chan. He is not even level 20. He was getting worried thinking about him. How would he be facing all of them? If something really happens to them, then how will I explain to the boss? He was also getting worried about this. At the same time, the system informs that one of your teammates has died, killed a low-level dead spirit level 30, gained 1,433 experience points. Your teammate killed a necromancer god level 35, gained 1028 experience points. This guy looked at the system and he can't believe how it's possible. And then suddenly a lot of dead creatures appear and he starts running away from them. And he thinks to himself that this is a mutated secret area who is the one who is killing the monsters instantly. And then he thinks about Bulang and what he might have killed, then he remembers. He can't do it because his physical attributes are too passive. Jia Oak can't do it either. She has light attribute which can block the monsters but can't kill them in a single flash. After a while he realizes that Xiaochen can't do it either. Because except for low level, whether it's poison or anything else, everything can be enhanced. It will have no effect on the dead. And then he thinks about Hankyu and he realizes that he is not really strong. And after this, he thinks in his mind that in any case, if there is someone who can kill the demons in our party so easily, then it means that we can help others, save them. On the other side, this girl stands holding her other hand. Her condition becomes very bad. Her clothes are torn and blood starts coming out of her mouth. Here all the demons have scratched her. And then she thinks in her mind that I cannot die. I have a hidden profession. I want to participate in the camp, and I want to revive my family. I cannot give up now, but soon my energy is getting over. I cannot even use my skills now. And I want to go home. I do not want to lose my life. Then suddenly something strange is seen there, and then she gets surprised looking at it, and thinks in her mind, what is here? Are those dead souls running away, or is it a teammate of ours who is capable of killing the dead person instantly? And he has come to protect me. Seeing that scene, I feel that it must be some strong aura. And he is so confident that I just need to endure for a little while. After that, I will definitely be saved. Then suddenly, all the defenses attack her once again, and then that girl falls down on the ground. She was badly injured, and then she moves her hand forward and shouts for help. Then suddenly our hero reaches there, and then she looks at him. On looking at him, she feels a strange relief. As if she has been saved, and then looking at him, she thinks in her mind that this is him, but how is this possible? Even now a demon had his hand on her shoulder, but now looking at our hero, she gets courage inside her. It was over. And she says, how is this possible? Friends, this chapter ends here. Don't forget to press the like button to see the next chapter. If you are new to the channel, then please subscribe to the channel. Friends, you can also rate us for the video out of 10 so that we can make better videos for you. See you in the next chapter. Till then, take care of yourself and your family.
Then suddenly the coffins of the corpses fall and skeletons come out of them. And they attack the girl. The girl's clothes were torn. She calls Giant Chan for help and says, Giant Chan, save me. Seeing her in trouble, our hero immediately comes into action. And he holds the girl's hand and pulls her towards him and tells her to run fast. And then he grabs the girl's hand and pushes her forward to save her. The girl falls on the ground. She gets hurt, and she was already badly injured. And she gets up and says, Giant Chang, why are you doing this? Then suddenly she sees those big insects. They were all spread all over the sky. Our hero summons Little Master's child, who manifests poisonous mist, which attacks and kills all the dead souls in a few moments. The girl is shocked to see this scene and says this is great. All the dead souls are dead, and she thinks in her mind if this is really a creation-type person. He has a double class, a hidden poison type. This is his true form. After this, she takes her hand near her mouth, and she feels my heart is beating very fast. And then she says, oh no, it must be poison. On the other hand, after half an hour after, this guy gets really tired and says, oh my God, those immortal spirits are very annoying. And then this guy says, really, but it's very strange that when I passed by that house, none of them were there. And then this girl says that Mu Hanko killed all the dead souls. Does he have any secret skill, or he is very powerful? Then suddenly that girl sees pieces of dead souls. And then she points in that direction and says that this is a sign of the battle that is going to happen ahead. It looks fresh, and then this guy says that I wonder if Giant Chang will be okay or not. They both go close to the dead souls, and are surprised to see that these are pieces of dead souls that are slowly dying. And then he says, now search around. If something happens to Xiao Chen, then none of us will be able to bear the consequences. After this, everyone starts searching for him everywhere. And then everyone's eyes go to Giant Chang sitting on the stairs. And then he goes close to them and asks them if Xiao Chen is right. The girl replies that you are right, it is him. And then he tells them that it is him. Wait, this is very weird and arrogant too. And then he says it's not Xiao Chen. It's the real boss who has disguised as Xiao Chen to trick us. Here the girl is standing behind our hero, and he gets nervous. And then our hero looks at them and says, brother, finally, you are here. The real boss must be in the backyard. It's good to see you guys safe and sound, but everyone gets into action and says you catch him. And he says you answer my question first. At the same time, this girl comes in front of our hero and says, what do you want to do with Xiao Chen? Before doing any kind of action with Xiao Chen, you have to go through me first. Our hero looks at that girl and he likes her honesty. And then he puts his hand on his mouth, looks at Dongyuan and says, I know what you are thinking. I am not Raksha, I am just a little attractive. Then he says he is not sure. So let me tell you, the boss named Kai Gang is there, and Aunt Tang is the best cook. Hearing this, everyone believes her, and then they all go close to her and say that it is really Xiao Chen, and it is great that you are okay. Everyone starts laughing, and then this girl blushes. Everyone starts making fun of our hero, but our hero says you all do your work and don't behave weird. Here this guy looks at him and says he is so innocent. And then he says, well kids, you really understood it. Our hero shouts and says, hey, that's enough. Do you guys want to fight the boss or not? All reply, yes, yes, yes. After this, they all reach near the mansion. And our hero kicks open the door of the mansion, Then suddenly a huge monster appears in front of him. The system shows that it is the leader of the dead soul, and it is just of level 40. Everyone gets shocked to see her and says she is of level 40. And then he says, everyone be careful of it, I will attract its attention and protect Mu Hukum and Xiaochin. And then he says keep the buff steady and avoid its attacks. And it will cause more damage, but safety will be your first priority. And you have to be careful, we can't make any mistake, Ken. And then he slowly walks forward and says be careful, it is moving. Everyone will try to keep some distance. Then suddenly we see the monster fall to the ground. And everyone is shocked to see what is happening, how it fell to the ground, as if it is begging. And then at the same time our hero walks forward and says you all are injured. So you should leave this group, since all the dead souls were already dead due to the poisonous mist. And then he calls Little Master and says this is a great opportunity for you. It's time to eat. Little Master appears at the same time and swallows that big monster. The system informs that his boss has killed the leader of the dead soul and gained 7669 experience. Little Lion has emptied strength, gained 31024 experience. And Ding has reached level 26 from 25. All attributes increased by 10% increased. And the system congratulates you for defeating the final boss and clearing the secret area. Everyone was surprised to see the scene. How did the boss die like that? And then he looks at our hero and says, so it was you who killed the dead spirits. Instantly our hero puts his hand on his head and says smiling, yes, I was lucky my poison was on them. And then at the same time, a star starts shining. The system shows that the night near clearance assessment grade of Dead Spirit Village level 30, all participants are rewarded. Medal of the Dead special item, equipped it can absorb a fatal attack. The instrument is not transferable or sellable. Everyone is surprised to see the star. And it is told that the equipment for individual rewards is already very good. But the team reward is even better. Everyone thinks in their mind that they have never got this much before. Xiaochin took us to the secret area, so everyone thanks Xiaochin. Then he thinks to himself that the rest is not of much use to me. When I go back, I will sell all that and buy blood tax for my young insect. And then is told by the system that it is going to disappear due to the cleaning of the changed secret area. Please exit the secret area as soon as possible, and then this time the speech value has increased considerably. If they drink some more blood tax, I should be able to make another swarm soon. After this, everyone comes out of the secret area and reaches the night watch building. And then this uncle, seeing them there, asks them whether the secret area has changed. Or Jia Cheng has conquered Mukoi. Or Giant Change has taken you people. He was shocked. And he says that the rest of you can go first, but I would like to talk to Jai Chan in private. And then everyone goes out from there, and Uncle looks at our hero and says, be honest with me and tell me everything, the truth about how this happened. The logic is that your poison can work against the Amrit spirits and deceive other people. But you can't deceive me here. You be honest and tell me the truth, what you are hiding from me. Our hero thinks to himself, damn it. Do I have to reveal my bug to her? These are the plagues of ancient times. If people knew about this, would they let me go? Friends, this chapter ends here. See you in the next chapter. Till then, take care of yourself and your family. The hero reaches the dense forest and is looking at the map very carefully and thinks in his mind, which way is this? And says, I seem to be lost. Then suddenly he feels strange and hears a voice saying, help me. The hero turns back and sees that there is a person on top of the tree who looks to be in trouble. And he shouts and says, help me, I am afraid of heights. The hero looks at him, but he does not understand anything, because that person's sword was lying on the ground below. And then he touches that tree with his hand at the same time. Then suddenly the rope of the tree ties that person badly and makes him fall on the ground. And this person says that it was scary. Till I reached there, the bird's nest did not seem so high. Our hero looks at him and says, you are afraid of heights, but still you want to get the bird's nest. Do people like you call children? Actually, he was an old man, and then he looks at the hero. The hero extends his hand towards him and says, "Young boy, you saved me today. Can I repay you in some way?" The hero looks at him and says, "Do you know how to reach Giant Jiao Camp?" Hearing the hero's words, the old man starts dancing and laughing happily, and says, "I am also going there, and you can follow me." Our hero scratches his head and thanks for showing the way. After this, both of them start moving forward, and the hero raises his hand towards him and says, "By the way, you also look like an awakened person. Why don't you put your sword in your inventory?" The old man replies that I am not awakened. I only train in swordsmanship. And then looking back says that I did not have talent at that time. After I failed in awakening, I was wandering here and there to earn a living. But even after 10 years, I did not find a toilet in the city. And then I got completely frustrated at that time, and went to the mountains in search of death, found a small hut, and found this blade. But after that I decided to practice swordsmanship every day in the mountains. And I practiced a lot. After 50 years of training, I suddenly had a spiritual experience. He looks at our hero and says, "Young lad, was it really not a secret?" Our hero looks at him and replies, "Yes." And then he says, "So would you like to learn swordsmanship from me? I only know one move, and its name is RMC." After saying this, he starts smiling and says, "It seems I am getting ahead of myself." But our hero was getting bored listening to him. Then suddenly our hero feels something strange, and then he signals the old man to look at the tree. Then suddenly the old man disappears. Our hero starts thinking that this person was here. Where did he suddenly disappear? 2 helicopters are seen flying over the camp. And here the announcement is made that those who want to enter please report and queue up here. And take an identification wristband, and do not take off the wristband until you are allowed to remove it. Our hero immediately lines up and wears the wristband on his hand. Here this person shouts to everyone not to lose their wristbands and get ready to enter the camp. Our hero enters the camp. Here both the girls are surprised to see our hero, and their love for our hero is clearly visible in their eyes. Choda no says stop with ex-crushes, because how many times have I told you before not to read those random Yuri novels? And stop getting involved in immoral affairs with your girlfriends. Our hero replies, "Yes, you are right. I now really understand how it feels to have my heart melted. You are absolutely nothing." Chatno says, "While eating food looks good, nice to see." Our hero says, "Well, a lot of information has been revealed again." After this, Luo Sando hugs our hero tightly, but this other girl says, "Then why are you still following me, X?" Luo Sando hugs our hero tightly and says, "I am following you." "Don't be arrogant, okay? My master is Jian-chan." After this, Luo Sando starts blushing. And this girl tells him, "I always said you are not, and you didn't believe me. But now it's true, okay? If yes, then please correct this mistake." Lua Sego lowers her eyes and says, "Well, she has really shaken my heart." And then both of them hug each other and start talking and say, "So now are we good friends again?" Lu Sando says, "I think we both are best friends now and rivals in love, so we can only be considered enemies." Our hero looks at them and thinks, "Hey, these girls, and how they think. It is very strange." Then suddenly something falls there. Both the girls get surprised seeing this scene. Our hero says, "What is going on there?" This girl says, "It seems like someone is fighting." Then suddenly this person comes towards them fast and says, "You guys have not even entered the camp yet, and you are already fighting. Do you guys want to die?" Saying this, he starts raising his arms. Seeing him, our hero thinks in his mind that the patrol instructor, his strength is the 3rd transfer grand, must be at the level of a master. Then suddenly that person pulls the other person and hits him, and then that person falls on the ground on the other side. The ground breaks and says, "Nonsense. Quickly inform the higher authorities that those crazy people are here." Seeing this scene, Mu Hankyu says that a 3rd transfer grand master has been sent flying with a hit. Who exactly is that person fighting? Lu Sando looks at him and says, "Who else could it be?" it is Jongnan's top artist. Then suddenly a girl comes there and a strong aura appears around her. And then after looking at her, they say that the name of that short-haired woman is Tanying, who is a killer type, extremely terrifying in strength, and she is the youngest gold medal-winning assassin in the Chang'e Tower. And it is said that recently a fourth transfer grandmaster was killed in the Sakura Empire. And beside him stands this red-haired man with a red aura around him. The one who is emitting a blood-red aura all over is known as Brother Feng. He is known as the Little Killer God, and he is the disciple of the commander-in-chief of the East China Sea Defense Line, and is the most talented genius in the military field. But it seems that he has some psychological problems and can easily get out of control. The blue-haired man is known as Xiao Beihan and is one of the pillars with his grandfather Taxia. And his profession is Gaglian Sword, which is considered to be immortally god level. Lu Sandu gets nervous when he sees all this and says, "I know that fucking bastard." In his hand is the epic level sword that was stolen from my family. Hearing this, our hero thinks to himself, so this is Xiao Beihan. He really deserves the genius title. He is countless times more powerful than Annual. He then sees this scene and wonders who is this person they are surrounding. Suddenly the person punches the ground, causing the ground to break. This person is known as Ajay Descendant, and he has 3 professions, and all of them are hidden. And he is apparently incredibly strong, and even with their combined strength, they can't defeat him. Then looking at him, he thinks to himself that Zhong Wenshuang is 3rd on the Dexia Genius Hunters list. No surprise. Our hero then thinks to himself that I wonder if my worms can handle these people. Then suddenly this person attacks our hero looks up. Then suddenly Lu Shandao comes and our hero catches him and warns him to be careful. And then this person jumps down to the ground and cuts the ground with his sword. And then he glares at our hero and says that fist style was able to blow me away, not bad. Then this person puts his sword back in place and says, "So your name is Giant Change. I heard that Xiao Yuanju was killed by you. I don't like that useless person either though," and then he says you have to die today too. I was originally planning to finish off Zhang Wusong before dealing with you. But since you are here, I will kill you first, and he says so he picks up his sword. Our hero senses the danger at the same time, and he also immediately moves into action. And says, well, even though your strengths are different, it seems everyone in the Xiao family has the same personality. As he says so, our hero's hand starts emitting poisonous mist. And then he says, I know that I promised Uncle Jai not to draw attention. But in this situation, I can't do anything else. Saying this boy starts flying in the air. A strong aura starts appearing around our hero, and poisonous mist starts spreading all around. Then suddenly a strange thing comes very fast and tears the ground in the middle, and separates both of them in different directions. And then a voice comes that the chief instructor, Heavenly Blue King, is coming. Here we see that there was a huge pit between them on both sides. Seeing this scene, Heavenly Blood King says. Then suddenly this Chief Blade King comes and says, for those who want to fight right now, you will have to answer for this sword in my hand. But our hero was very surprised, and he thinks in his mind that Heavenly Blue King is that strange old man, whom I met on the way here. With a wave of his sword, he shocked all the 4 geniuses to such an extent that even he feels that my insects have become unable to deal with them, and my small insects are also almost affected by this shock. It is very surprising to see this. Friends, this chapter ends here. See you in the next chapter. Till then, take care of yourself and your family. RMC was already surprised to see this old man, because this old man was the one he met on the way. And then he holds up his sword, and the man standing behind him says, Senior Yu, all 300 talents are here. Please get ready to go on stage and host the opening ceremony. This man is the voice commander, and his name is Youngond. Seeing him walk towards the ceremony, everyone starts discussing that, my God, There were many Tianjiao camps in the Jiangnan region, but none had a king-level person in charge. Looking at him, they can guess that he is so far away, and yet people are afraid of him. He is really so terrifying. Even though we are standing dozens of meters behind, the Heavenly Blood King can still kill us all in one go. But this is so strange. He didn't say that the old master is living in seclusion, and why is he coming out now? I just heard the training talking in private. It seems that the old master took the initiative to ask, because it is possible that he might want to recruit a disciple. And then he thinks that in that case I have to perform well. And he says that people like us should stop dreaming about it. If he is really recruiting, then he will recruit the people at the top. And then he thinks to himself that heavenly, I have finally met the legend. And then he thinks to himself that once the camp starts, I will definitely beat Zhang Wuxuang. And then after beating him, I will leave a good impression on the old master. And to think that they managed to invite him, I must make him my master. Here our hero was also standing at the ceremony. Our hero looked at Mu Hankyu and said, "Do you both recognize that powerful old master?" Mu Hankyu replies that yes, of course, I have been his disciple since childhood. I've been hearing about legends. He is not an awakener, but is able to kill a group of 7th transfer cell kings. And then he became the #1 seal king under the Zen Empire. Mu Hankyu says that his abilities are comparable to the 8th transfer of the Jain Empire. He once killed a dragon in one go. Our hero is shocked to hear her words, and she tells him that it is true. Although they are both at the same Seal King level, senior Heavenly Blue King is the most respected existence of my grandfather. And then once he asked me to become his disciple, but he refused. I was very disappointed, but then I heard that many Jain Empire and Ajay descendants have been turned away as well. Our hero hears this and says, "Okay, but are you guys unsure that it is very difficult to become his disciple?" Lu Sandow looks at them and says Mu Hankyu must be doing it as far as I know. And then she says that both Zhang Wanshuang and Bai Feng were rejected by Senior Blue God before. But you have seen Zhang Wuxuang and the rest of his abilities. It is unbelievable. She looks at him and says, "Yes, altruistic. You must not know how difficult it is to become his disciple." But the old master has accepted only 2 disciples in his life, and that was more than 20 years ago. Hearing this, our hero thinks to himself that some time ago I met this old man on top of a tree. And he asked me if I would like to learn, while I refused him. And he told me that I know only one move and its name is, and then he did not tell about that move. And then he wonders to himself whether that Heavenly Blue King that everyone talks about is that strange old man really the guru who climbs trees to mess with the birds. And then he gets confused and thinks to himself whether those 2 persons are the same. Then they realize that both the persons are the same. Suddenly Blue King Raja Senior coughs, and then he looks at everyone and says, "I am a head instructor of this Tianjiao camp, and as everyone knows." And then he says that our Jiangnan region has been doing poorly for the past few years, because the battles here are just for show. In this battle, everyone gives more importance to their own lives. If you don't have the courage to sacrifice everything here in a real war with real dangers, you will die without any funeral. Everyone is listening to him carefully. And then he tells that there are more and more demons in this world. We need more capable talents. With this, we have to make better choices to better display and highlight the abilities of our talents. And then he looks at everyone seriously and brings his mic closer to his mouth, and tells that this year a new rule has been set for the headquarter of Jiangnan Zhan's Tianjiao camp. And then he gestures with his hand towards the back. The person standing behind says, "Senior Master, tell me, I am present at your service." And then he says that here is the final rule. I say that if anything happens, I will take responsibility. The person standing behind panics and thinks to himself that the Death Index higher officials have never mentioned this before. This has never happened before in the history of Tianjiao. There are so many powerful talents. And he thinks to himself that won't this cause a lot of chaos? The senior master takes his mic in his hand and says 10 of you will die for me in each round of the exam. And then he tells very seriously that if you want to go back, you can leave the field and go back. Everyone is shocked to hear the senior master's words. Everyone starts discussing among themselves. This person says that although it is scary, I can't stay back. Otherwise my whole family will be embarrassed. The other person replies, but I don't want to die. But this person on the other side stood up with great self-confidence and said, according to the requirement of Senior Heavenly Blue King, Zhongnan Zhongtian Jiao Camp should have done this long ago. This blue-haired person looked at our hero and said yes, okay? This rule should be made especially for me. When the camp starts later, I can fulfill 2 people from Old Master's quota. But our hero looks at him very seriously and thinks to himself that with this quota, even if the conflict increases later, and if I kill this Xiaobehian, Uncle Jai, and the others will not have to worry much. Then the senior instructor takes his mic in his hand and says no one decided to go back. This is great, and then he looks at them and smiles, and says it seems as if everyone is proud of themselves. And then he announces that the camp entrance evaluation has officially started. And there are about 300 people in the first round. Half of you will be eliminated, and 150 people will have advancement flags hidden in the best possible way inside the camp. And then he takes out his sword and tells, I don't care what methods you use. The round will end the game on the second day. Whoever has the flag will advance. And then he tells that fight with self-confidence and kill with self-confidence. Fight alone or make an alliance. You can even destroy the whole place if you want. And then he puts his sword on the ground and hits the trunk of a tree, due to which the trunk of the tree completely splits into 2 parts and says briefly, let me briefly see your blood path. Everyone gets scared seeing this scene and starts running in the opposite direction. There is a commotion among all the people, and he says that the best way with our abilities is to find and hide the flags, because it is easy, and it is right to save from those cruel people. This is the safest way to move forward. After this blue-haired boy comes in front of our hero at the same time, and raises his sword in the air. Our hero looks at the girls and says that both of you find the unnaughty flag together, and I'll deal with this bastard. The 2 girls hear him and rush off to find the advanced flag. Lu Sandow turns back and says okay. And then our hero looks at them and says this is an order. The blue-haired guy says, hey, a newbie like you, who doesn't even have another transfer. He wants to become a hero now. Our hero immediately springs into action and thinks to himself that the sword energy is really powerful. But it's much inferior to Xiao Yuan's. However, now I'm stronger than ever. And then he looks at him and says, shut your nonsense. And then our hero looks at her and wonders whether it is possible to kill her using only poison without exposing the existence of my insect larvae. Having said this, he lifts his hand and poisonous snakes start coming out. Then this blue-haired boy attacks our hero with his sword, and says that I do not need to waste words on a dead body. Our hero looks at her seriously and poisonous snakes are visible all around him. Then suddenly a voice comes from behind, Xiao Beihan. The girl comes in front and stops Xiao Beihan from attacking. The blue-haired boy looks at that girl and asks Deng Ying, you stopped my attack. What does this mean? Our hero looks at her and thinks in his mind that this woman is a killer. Then that woman goes close to Xiao Beihan and says, have you forgotten our agreement with Brother Feng? We agreed to kill Zhang Wuxuan when the camp started. And yet you keep dealing with unimportant matters. Xiao Baihua looks at him and yells, are you using these excuses on purpose? Because you're actually afraid of Zhang Wuxuan. And then he yells, who says I'm afraid of him? With that, the 2 of them start walking away. And then the blue-haired guy says, where is Zhang Wuxuan? I'll deal with him first, and it's not too late to deal with this trash. The girl points at him and says, he went to that forest. Brother Feng is still chasing him. Our hero looks at them and can't understand why this happened. He came to fight me, and she took him away after refusing him. And he says that these things have really taken a turn. Speaking of which, I don't know if it's true. But why do I feel that she is helping me on purpose? But why don't we even know each other? Then suddenly the lady turns back and signals with one eye closed and smiles. Actually, the girl's aunt had asked her to secretly take care of Zhang Chang in the Tianjiao camp. But she couldn't let him kill the blue-haired guy because his ability wasn't enough. So she called Zhang Wasung's name and avoided the fight, to try to delay his movements. Actually, this girl is Tang Jin's niece who came to protect our hero. On the other side, this guy got the flag. And then he takes the flag in his hand and dedicates it to the blue-haired guy. And he says, "Young Master Zhang, my father was your grandfather's subordinate. This 3 advanced flag is a demonstration of my devotion to you." The blue-haired man looks at him and says, "I don't need it. If you really want to show your loyalty, then help me do something for me." The girl looks at him and thinks to herself, "Damn Jian Chen, now you have to deal with this yourself. But I hope Mun Hankyu and Lu Sandov can protect you." Meanwhile, Louis Sandal finds the flag and she says, "I have found it." And she tells that there are 2 more advanced flags. Our hero reaches there and says, "You both can take this first. I will go somewhere else to look for the other flag." She says, "We will help you find it together." Then suddenly a powerful thing appears from the sky. Our hero at the same time picks up that table and throws it on Shakti, and tells everyone to be careful. As soon as that table hits him from Shakti, when it hits, there is a huge explosion. Mu Hanku grabs our hero. Lu Sando immediately springs into action and prepares to attack. Then suddenly this boy comes to them jumping in the air, and says, "This is not a flag. This is your life." Our hero looks at him and says, "This is Hancho. He has a hidden profession. He is level 39 and his father is the 16th 6th transfer venerable." After this, he thinks in his mind that I don't know if I can have an eternal shield of the earth or not. Then suddenly this boy attacks again, and then he says to those 2 girls. Then suddenly our hero gets angry and poisonous mist starts coming out of his hand. And then he says that I can tolerate everything else, but if you want to die, then don't blame me for being ruthless. After all, someone has to complete the quota of death of the old master. Saying this, he immediately comes into action. Friends, the chapter ends here. Don't forget to press the like button to see the next chapter. And if you are new to the channel, then subscribe to the channel.